So in this video I'm going to show you how to winterize your small gas-powered 4-stroke engine. So we'll start with this pressure washer. This is a typical 4-stroke, small 4-stroke engine made by Honda. These are their commercial, their top-of-the-line engines. You can always identify their best engines because they have a red steel case where the pull starter is, and they're going to have kind of a creamy white gas tank. Those are the ones that you want. I personally would not buy any piece of equipment that didn't have this engine on it in the smaller ranges from 7, 8 horsepower on down. So what first thing we're going to do is we're going to start this thing up, warm it up, and I'll show you how to drain all of the fuel out of it, and then we'll do a quick oil change while we're at it. So before we get started, we're going to make just a little catch bucket for the gas that'll work really handy on their small engines. So just take an old bottle of vegetable oil and cut it in half, and then take your knife and work a couple holes here. Now take a piece of baling wire and we're just going to make a loop handle like a paint can. So the reason why your small engines are difficult to start in the springtime after sitting through the winter is because of the garbage gas that they subject us to. It's got ethanol in it and all these additives that just do nothing but clog up the gasoline, and then clogs up the carburetor and it won't start. If you contact a good quality reseller, Honda dealers oftentimes, or companies that really handle high-end power equipment, they'll keep a log and they'll tell you where you can buy ethanol-free gas. It's going to cost you about an extra 40-50 cents a gallon, but buy that 5-10 gallons at a time and just save that just for your power equipment, and it'll save you a ton of frustration. So what we want to do is to get all of the gas out of our small engines. Right here, what you're looking at is what they call a float bowl, and that's just a little bowl on the bottom of the carburetor where it holds a small reservoir of gas. You can run your equipment dry, and I recommend you do that, run it till it's empty, but sometimes there's still going to be a little bit of gas in here, and that stuff will varnish and turn into a jelly-like substance that'll clog up your carburetor, and you're going to have all types of problems. So as you can see right here, I can take a 10-millimeter wrench and remove this drain plug, and we'll catch this fuel with our little bucket, and using that wire we'll just run it around something, and it'll hold it in place for us, and we can let that drain into this bucket here. Your carburetors and your small equipment, power equipment, are often going to have a fuel shutoff valve, and that's just a small valve. You can make sure that's open, and that way you can drain the entire tank into this container, and then have be sure that you have all the gas out of it. While our gas is draining, it's a good time. We'll make another small bucket here to catch the oil. We'll go ahead and drain our oil out. On the Honda engines, they're pretty simple. You're going to have a fill right here, and you have a drain plug. There's a drain plug on each side. Some manufacturers are good about leaving you access to help drain the oil. Some are not, but this one's not too bad. It has a small hole in the frame, so we'll put our bucket under here and remove the drain plug. Here's a quick shop tip of a little tool that you can make that saves you a lot of time and aggravation. It's a paper towel holder. Many of you guys who shop at Costco or Sam's use these blue heavy paper towels, shop towels, for cleaning up projects around the shop. Take a piece of steel you can get from a scrapyard, or maybe something you have laying around, something that's pretty heavy that won't tip over, a small piece of threaded rod, and it makes a great handle for pulling your paper towels off. They're not unraveling and falling on the floor. So with the oil drained and the plug removed, we'll go ahead and fill up the crankcase. And as with Briggs & Stratton, or most of the small engines, and if they don't have a dipstick, you simply fill them up until the oil starts to come out of the fill hole. Just put your little rag there and you can catch anything that overflows. Now we've got our oil change completed, and we've got all of the gas drained out of the carburetor, and I go one more step. There's 2 screws on the bottom of the float bowl. One is to drain, the second is to remove the float bowl. And I'll take this out and then dump what remaining fuel is in there and check for any debris or chunks or goo. We'll settle down there and clean that out. And with the fuel open, now the tank is empty, and I know that there's no gas left in this machine, and it's ready to be put away for the winter. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to use the gas that we drained out of the float bowl to do a quick clean of the pre-air filter. So the last thing we're going to do is remove the housing for the air filter. And these don't need to be replaced that often unless you're working in really dusty environments, but I don't typically. So the Honda engines have a really good quality heavy-duty paper filter. You want to just an example of the difference in quality between Briggs and Stratton and Honda. Take a look at the quality of this air filter, how big and robust it is. It's very nice. So I'll check the paper. I'll usually not replace this annually. It just depends on the working conditions. However, this pre-filter, the foam, we'll go ahead and clean that now, and we'll use the gas that we drained out of the tank. All right, assuming the gas was reasonably clean that we drained out of the tank, we're going to take our pre-filter here and use this gas to clean it out, just like you would a sponge. Just 5 or 6 times. Saturated in that gas, drain it out, and this will remove all the grease and the grime and make your air filter last longer. Once you get that squeezed out, set it aside to dry for a few hours, let the gas evaporate, and we'll reinstall it. To dry, we'll take out the air box housing. You can see there's a lot of water and foreign material here, dirt and such. We'll clean that out, blow that out with our compressor, and then reinstall. So once our pre-filter has had time to dry out, we'll reinstall everything. So that's essentially it. This is the time, the fall, just before winter, is when I go through and change the oil and service all the power equipment. That way I know I got all the gas out of it, and then come springtime, I can add fresh gas, and first, second pull, everything's going to start. I'm just not going to have the headaches and aggravation of trying to get everything going. So that's it for basic 4-stroke engines. There's some slight variations for your Briggs and Stratton or your cheaper Harbor Freight engines, but essentially you follow these guidelines and it's the same thing. So, good luck, and we'll see you on the next video.
Girl, is your daddy home? Did he go and leave you all alone? I got a bad desire. Oh, I'm on fire.